Yeah, it's kind of cool doing this on the E3 build because a lot of people would have seen just the quick 3 minutes that we showed or whatever, but it wasn't some level that we built or something like that, even though I think it looks quite nice in places.
I think people watching this would wonder why you're showing this area again. Like, what's so special about demoing the game on this planet?
Oh, no, it's just a place that looks nice. And it will go from day to night and back to day again. And that's just because we're orbiting around the sun, like a real sun. Because the planet is actually rotated on its axis. It's a planet, and it's kind of rotating around the sun and stuff. Not like that you're orbiting around the sun and stuff like that.
Could you potentially manually fly to new solar systems?
Yes, but nobody's actually done it yet.
If I keep flying in one direction for a really, really long time, will I bonk the edge of the galaxy?
Bonk the edge of it? Is that like just
That's exactly
flat
what it
out
is.
stop? Or would you prefer that it said you were now leaving the mission area?
Yes.
No, neither of those things happen. You can go into the darkness for as long as you want, Jeff. Yeah, and they will send bigger and bigger kind of sentinels after me. Eventually, ships, freighters, that kind of thing.
As that wanted level in the upper right corner goes up.
He wants to know if you can name your ship.
Ships are actually a discovery, just like everything else. And you can name your discovery. So you can name the ship type, and then everyone who has that ship would have that name. It would have that name. So when they first find it and they get in it. But if you're the first person to find that type of ship, then it's yours to name.
It's things like ships and stuff as well. This is kind of the ship that we've showed off before. It's just a fighter, but you can view variants of it. And there's an infinite number of variations of that ship, which is a cool thing for players. Each one of them is pilotable. Each one of them will handle slightly differently. When you have a ship, it feels a little bit like it's your own, because it is pretty unique and you're not going to see 10 other people with the same ship. But that could be an aim for me, right? To build up my ship enough.
Like a fast, nimble ship that can just swoop in, take out some pods like
and
that.
And then get away before the police start paying me attention. Often going to freighters, docking with the freighters, picking up some resources from them, ferrying the goods into the space station.
You could just play the entire game as a trader if you wanted to,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, just like a lot of space games, I could play the entire game just out in space, right?
And you just live in space?
Yeah. You could just fly about your ship forever.
Can you land on a comet?
Yeah, at the moment you can land on asteroids.
So if you try and destroy an entire space station or something like that, then that feels a lot more significant, or take out a whole fleet or something like that.
Some water and some like islands.
Yeah.
And if we flew down, we'd see that those are real and they're there. You can kind of make out a continent, and some of those islands would be quite huge. And different races have different attributes. So some are scientific, some are kind of combative.
Right.
And depending on how I'm playing, I might want to kind of make an allegiance with one or other, So for instance, I might be a trader, and so I'll favor a trading race, get tech from them, that kind of thing.
It's full of choices. Like here, we're at the boundary between two warring factions. I could join in, I could take sides.
You have to imagine that every one of those stars has its own solar system, its own little battles, its own types of factions. Well, normally what you would do is you would hack into this. That would be the best way.
Okay.
But yes, you can have a really good standing with the NPCs, and they will just give you product recipes.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Something might be. The first thing is the game kind of has rules, right? And you're going to learn those rules as you go along. So you'll learn planets that are further from the sun have certain types of resources. Planets that are closer have certain types of resources, or planets that have certain environments. So for instance, like a barren planet tends to have more valuable resources. What you actually gather, the resources from those, are like what I would refer to as kind of atomic elements, right? They're chemical elements. And those can be crafted. Those can be joined together to create something that is more complicated. What I would call like a product, effectively. So you can craft two elements to create a product. Really what you're doing is doing things like combining two atoms to create a molecule, right? And when we release the game, we're not telling people, here are all the formulas. We're just letting players loose, and a little bit like Minecraft, people can, figure out those rules themselves, because I think that's quite fun. The game and the planets are full of these kind of little mysteries, right? And you work them out and you begin to learn more about the lore of the game, but also how the systems work and how it works on a particular planet. So for this one, it's got its own set of resources, some of which might be only available on a planet like this, right? On a cold planet far from the sun.
You could just play the entire game as a trader if you
Right,
wanted to,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, just like a lot of space games, I could play the entire game just out in space, right? I'm going to steal some resources, and if I could survive, then this would probably be a pretty good way to play the game.
Battles like that are taking place across the universe.
But you can also, like a lot of players do, just not gather resources. Perhaps you're the type of person who just never wants to do that because it seems a bit laborious, or you just don't like visiting planets, you want to play a space game. And so you can do that if you want.
Will you be able to play with your friends?
Yeah.
Is there a competitive element to this game?
Yeah, if you want that, yes.
Can you grief other players?
A little bit.
Will there be NPC characters?
No.
Can you customize the look of your character?
Sort of.
Do you ever get a good look at your character?
You can see other characters, and they could see you.
Is there intelligent life in this game?
The players, hopefully. We want everyone to share the same universe. We want people to feel the impact of other players. And they will need to plan, and they will need to cooperate with other players to an extent. You could encounter other players. It is possible, but it's something that it's not core to the game.
Can you run into other people, other players on the game?
Yes, there is the ability to communicate and work with other people. You're probably not going to bump into anyone. You can. You can, right?
You're literally building your own massively multiplayer world that's procedurally generated.
Do we ever get to see ourselves?
No, you don't see yourself, so the only way for you to know what you look like is for somebody else to see you.
Do the animals eat each other?
Yeah, they do.
Can you cross-pollinate life between planets?
I think it's safest that you don't. Yeah, and what's cool is that, they're kind of following mathematical paths. And you might see them all. You might see a creature running along and then fly out into space and come back, and he'll be further along from where he was before.
Will there be NPC characters?
No.
Can I plant a flag on a planet?
Sort of.
So do you often go to planets and you're just like, well, this is just a total dud?
No, not that often.
Do the corners of the screen get all bloody when you take damage in this game?
No, they don't.
Will there be DLC?
No. You use your binoculars, which are on the... Yeah. And right stick to zoom in. There you go. Okay, that's marked on your map. Okay, let's go over there.
Will the game be fun?
Yes.
Will I get bored playing this game?
No.